Hello. If you've ever had trouble parking on a job, if a customer has ever told you, yeah, parking's fine, don't worry about it, park anywhere, and you turn up and there's double yellow lines, permit holders only, and it's a complete nightmare, you know how frustrating this is. So I've built a solution in ServiceM8 and AI that automatically checks parking for you no matter what the customer says and adds it as a job note. Keep watching and I'll show you how to do it for pennies in about half an hour. So I decided to build something with ServiceM8 and AI that is pretty easy to copy and follow along with. It may look a bit daunting and a bit technical at first, but I think you should be able to follow along. So what this does, I'm going to show you the end result here, is that when you create a job in ServiceM8, this is a test job here, is that it sends off the job address to a really good AI, Google Gemini Flash, that knows all about parking. Okay, that's one of the great things about AI, especially Google AIs. They've got all the Google Maps data, so you can find out exactly what parking is like on pretty much any street in the world. So here, this is what's happened. I created the job and it's put a job note on here straight away with all of the parking restrictions around this job in Cedar Road. Okay, so how cool would this be if you could do this for every job? Okay, if especially if you're in a city, it's really helpful. So it saves parking tickets, it saves people being late for jobs. It's just really useful. So let's go through how to do it. Okay guys, just a really quick one. I've put a PDF together of the step-by-step guide, exactly how we go through this in the video, with all the scripts and the bash commands and everything you need as a kind of a copy paste job. So it's linked in the video description if you need it. Cheers. Okay, so let's see how it works. So you're going to need your ServiceM8 account. You're going to need a Cloudflare account because that's where we're going to do the automation. I looked into doing it with make.com that I use for quite a lot of things, but it's no good for ServiceM8 really. We could probably do this in N8N, but I've not really got into N8N yet. It's something I can do at a later date. The problem with N8N is that it's still another monthly expense. And if you just want something simple like this, N8N could be overkill. So it's up to you. I could probably build an N8N thing later, but as for now, we're going to use something called a Cloudflare Worker. So that's that there. And we're going to get an OpenRouter account, and that's going to let us do the AI side of things with Google Gemini. We could go direct to Google Gemini, but I think with OpenRouter it's really handy because it's easier to switch models like this. So like if Google Gemini suddenly is crap and doesn't work anymore or goes down, or if there's a better model from a different AI provider, it's much easier to switch if you just use OpenRouter, because then that can switch inside OpenRouter rather than having to go through and get new API keys and all that. So this is the workflow. So when you create a job in ServiceM8, it's going to send something called a webhook, which is like a little ping that it pings over to your Cloudflare Worker. The Cloudflare Worker then pings that over to the AI to check parking, and then it pings it all back and puts it in a note in ServiceM8. It says here 3 seconds. Usually within 20 seconds it's all updated. So I've got a step-by-step thing here where we go through it. First thing we've got to do here is get our API keys. The API keys are like your passwords that give software access to your services like ServiceM8. An API key from ServiceM8 lets the Cloudflare Worker get all of the information it needs out of ServiceM8 and into the AI. So what we have to do is go into settings on ServiceM8. I'm already there, but go into settings and click on API keys, and then we click on add API key and we give it a name. So I'm just going to give this, I'm going to say YouTube test, because I'm not going to keep this. I'm going to choose full access, then we're going to click on create. And can you see it's given us that long string of characters there? Now this is like a password, so you don't want to be sharing this about to everyone. With me, what I'm going to do, because this is going to be public online, I'm going to delete this API key once I've finished the video. So we're going to copy it. We're going to open a little notepad or something on our computer, and we're going to paste it in here. Okay, so that's our ServiceM8 key, and I'm just going to make a little note to say this is ServiceM8. Okay, so I'm going to say ServiceM8 there. So that's our ServiceM8 key done. So we can close that. Now, the thing you've got to bear in mind is that as soon as you close that, this key now in ServiceM8 is gone forever. So make sure you've copied and pasted it somewhere safe where you can find it again. All right, that's that. So ServiceM8 are giving us that warning there, saying that once it's gone, it's gone. Cool. Okay, so let's see what our next step is. That's to go to OpenRouter and get our keys. So what we have to do, I'm already signed into OpenRouter, but if you haven't got an OpenRouter account, just go to openrouter.ai and go to sign up. And once you've signed up, you need to go to your profile and you need to go to credits and you need to add credits, and that's going to take you through a checkout process, and you only have to add like $5. It doesn't have to be a lot of money at all, because this isn't going to cost us a lot of money. The AI model we're going to use to get the parking information, it's going to cost us fractions of a penny every time we use it. But you just need a bit of money in your OpenRouter account just to get you started. So add your credits, and then once you've done that, go down to keys. And very similar to ServiceM8, we're going to create the API key. Now I've got some of my API keys here that I've used. So this Claude Code 2 one is the one that I've been using for the last day or so for the parking app. This is just for the parking app. And I've only done a couple of requests, but it's cost me 0.2 cents. So that's like a penny. So it costs you absolutely next to nothing to run this. So we're going to click on Create API Key, and I'm going to give it a name. You can give it a good name like ServiceM8 Parking Checker, but I'm just going to call it YouTube Video. You can give it a credit limit if you want. We're not going to give it any expiration because that's going to end up cocking things up in the future. So we're going to click Create. Now we've got our key. So we're going to click on the little clipboard. That's copied it. We're going to go back to our notebook and we're going to call this one OpenRouter, and we're going to paste our key in here. There we go. All right, we're going to close that. Going to go back to our checklist. So we've done all that now. That's done. That's done. Now we're going to go to our Cloudflare account. So dash.cloudflare.com. I'm going to open this in a private browser so you can see it, what it looks like, and then I'm going to take you through to the dashboard. Okay, so that's your sign up screen. You can sign up with Google, Apple, GitHub, or your name and email address. So just go through the sign up process, and then you should see something like this, but you shouldn't have any domains in if you've not used Cloudflare before. If you have used Cloudflare, or if you do use it for your work, you'll have your normal dashboard. Once you're in like this, what we need to do is we need to click on Cloudflare Workers. So if we go down the left hand side here, you'll see Compute and AI, and we want Workers and Pages. As you can see, I've already built ServiceM8 Parking Check here, but let's build another one. So we're going to click on Create Application, and we're going to say start with Hello World. So we're going to call this ServiceM8 Parking Checker, ServiceM8 dash, and you need like dashes, you can't have spaces, Parking Checker. I'm going to say 2 because I've already got one of them, and we're going to click on Deploy. And so what this is doing, this is building the scaffolding for the automation system. Okay, and there we go. So the next step of this, we need to put the Cloudflare Worker code in. So this is the code that I built with AI yesterday, and this code is the automation itself. It tells the worker what to do. So it says when a new job is added to ServiceMate, get the address, feed it in the AI, get the parking stuff back, and then add a job note. So this is the actual guts of it, the code of it. So there's a link here, and I'm going to share this with you so you can get it. The link is here. There we go. So what you'll see here is all this code. You don't have to understand what it means. If you want it explained, drop it into your AI of choice. My AI of choice is Claude or Google Gemini at the moment. And so we're going to copy that by Command C, or we can do right click. And we can't do right click here, so we just do Command C or Control C if you're on Windows. And then we're going to go up here, Workers and Pages, Edit Code. Let that load up. So we're going to highlight all of this existing code, delete, and then we're going to go paste, Control V or Command V if you're on a Mac. That's all pasted in there, and now we're going to click on deploy. There we go, it says version saved, ServiceMate Parking Checker 2. Happy days. Right, let's go back to our checklist. So we saved the code, and now we have to add secrets. So secrets is what they call in programming talk like your passwords. So it's ways of signing in, and these and your secrets are your keys that we saved in our little notepad. So that's our ServiceMate API key, and it's our OpenRouter API key. So what we're going to do here, we've gone to settings, and we're going to go to the variables and secrets section here, and we're going to click add. So here we go. We're going to choose, we're not going to choose text or JSON, we're going to choose secret. And our variable name, have I messed up here? We need to get our variable name, don't we? So we need to go back to the code and grab our variable name. There we go. So ServiceMate API key. So I'll mess up a bit here because I've not showed you this yet. So we're going to call that ServiceMate API key. We're going to copy that. And we're going to put that in our little notepad here. An OpenRouter API key. We're going to copy that. And we're going to put that in there as well. Now we're going to go back. We're going to go back to settings. We're going to go variables and secrets, back to where we were. Choose secret. Here we go. So variable name is going to be ServiceMate API key. And the value is going to be that key that we got out of ServiceMate. We're going to add another one. Choose secret again. It's going to be OpenRouter API key. I'm going to copy this. And the reason they ask you to put these keys in separately as a separate variable rather than in the code itself is that it keeps everything more secure. I'm just going to click on deploy. Alright, that's that. We've added the key. Now we have to do something that looks a bit complicated, but it's not too bad. So what we've got to do now is we've got to create a ServiceMate webhook. They don't make it easy for you to create a webhook, and all the webhook is a little ping of information every time something happens on ServiceMate. Like when a job's created, you add a badge, you add an event, you change the job status, the customer pays. There's like hundreds of different things that fire from a ServiceMate webhook. And then what you can do with a webhook is like something like this can catch selected bits of information. Like in our case, it's going to catch the job details and the address, and then once it's caught it can do things with it like what we're doing here. Now a lot of services make it easy for you to get a webhook. You can go online, you can go in their developer platform, click generate webhook, and it's all nice and easy. It doesn't work like that with ServiceMate. They're awkward with their developers, and it makes building automations like this a bit tricky. So we have to do it through terminal, which is like coding it really. So if you're on Mac like me, what you've got to do is copy this section here, but can you see where it says your ServiceM8 API key? You need to put your ServiceM8 API key in there. And you see where it says callback URL, we need to put our address of our Cloudflare worker. Let's go through this. So let's get our ServiceM8 API key. There we go. Copy that. And what we're going to do is we are going to actually copy this, because I don't want to edit this, because I want to share that document with you later. I'm just going to put this on my notepad here. So we're going to put our ServiceM8 key in there. And now we've got to get our webhook worker address. So can you see up here, it says visit. Click on that. Opens it in a new tab. And we copy this URL here. Copy that. Go back to our little notepad. And can you see there where it says callback URL equals? Just going to carefully select that. Don't delete the speech marks or anything else or the equal sign, because it will cock it up. And then paste in your URL there. Okay, so that's that. And so now what we're going to do, we're going to open our terminal. So if you're on a Mac, you just command space and type in terminal, and you get a little screen like this. If you're on a Windows computer, you need to, what's it called? Bear with me. It is command prompt, that's the word. So you go in command prompt on Windows, and the code is slightly different if you're on Windows. So do what I've done if you're on Windows. But can you see the code's a bit different? Because Windows and Mac are a little bit different. But you still need to do the same thing. So you need to put in your API key where it says API, and you need to put in your worker URL there. Okay, but it's the same thing. And once you've got that on your notepad, where are we? Where's the notepad? So we're going to copy this, and we're going to paste it into terminal, and it should say success true. There we go, it's working. So that's created a new webhook, okay, which means it's all working. So if you see success true, it's all good. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to test it. This is the moment of truth. Right, okay, so let's create a test job here. Okay, so I'm going to do George test, because that's my testing. And let's put in a different address. What's an address? House where I grew up, 48 Carlton Road, Grays. There we go. So if we put that in, and I'm not going to save it yet. What we're going to do, we're going to go back to our worker. Going to go to observability. Okay, and this is like your logs. It just tells you what's happening. And we're going to go to live, and it's going to tell you what's actually coming in. So when I click close on this job on ServiceM8, it's going to save it, and it should then ping the webhook. Okay, so let's see if it works. There we go. So now we click on this, and it tells us what happened. So it's received the webhook, it's got all the job details, it's pulled out the job address, it's sent it off to the AI, and it's going to tell us all about the parking here. Okay, so it is a caching issue. So as you can see here, I'm going to hold up my phone to the camera. The job has updated. We go into diary. Can you see that? I don't know how you can see that. But it says parking. The property is located within a controlled parking zone, Zone G, requiring a resident permit between 9 AM and 6 AM. There are double yellow lines directly opposite and nearby junctions that prohibit parking at any time. Fantastic. So it has worked. It's just ServiceMate is caching it, which is absolute sod for sometimes. So that's it. That's working. Let me take you through anything else we need to know. Now that all goes through, Cloudflare Workers are free up to 100,000 operations a day. And if you're doing 100,000 operations a day on this, you have got plenty of money to pay for it, but it's free for all intents and purposes. So that's it. You will now get, for every new job that you create in ServiceMate, it's going to go off and it's going to check the parking using AI, and it's going to put a job note on there, so it doesn't show up straight away on your desktop version, but it does show up. And so you can check what the parking's like and make sure the customer's telling the truth before you get on a job. I hope that's helped. My name is George Lane at laneconsultancy.com. If you want help with ServiceMate, automation, building websites, SEO, all that sort of thing. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later.